good?
Welcome to the Blaize interview. My name is Blaize. This is
Bryan Ross.
All right, Bryan. So you want to talk to you about your brand, your Chuckle Brand?
Yeah, for sure. Chuckle Brand.
Chuckle Brand. So how'd you get started with the Chuckle Brand?
All right, so this was during quarantine. I was like, I need something to do creative because you know we're all stuck inside, and I remember doing a show. I'm a stand-up comedian, so
Yes.
I remember doing a show, and it was not a good night for any of the comics. It was a bad night. And this guy approached me. He was like, out of all the comics, he was like, you were pretty funny. And I was like, okay, well, hey, as long as I made you chuckle, I've done, my job. And I was like, chuckle. That would be a good name for a shirt. So this shirt, pretty much, it's like a bat signal, right, or a calling card for those of us like our creatives, our artists, even our athletes, socialites, things of that nature. So wearing this is like a representation, like we are the creatives of the world, and if you see it, it's like okay,
Chuckles.
you're like me, so chuckle.
So you're more of like you're trying to get out here with all the influencers and stuff.
Initially, it was just something I just wanted to do.
Okay.
And then as you start to see people, they like to package themselves as a brand. So like, well, why not?
I get
so
that.
That's why I got to go.
So what are some like creative ideas that you like to put on a shirt? Like what are some things that you come up with?
No, right now it's just the logo. I just
the logo?
created the logo, and I'm still thinking about what types of things I want to put on my shirts.
Okay.
Now, have you seen those pictures of like those chickens? They're kind of like these kind of large chickens, and then these cats. They're like, you'll see them a lot in Silver Lake, downtown LA.
Oh yeah.
But if you go through Los Angeles, you'll see like, hey, that's an interesting chicken. But there's California chicken, and then also Atlas. So these are two street artists that just put these chickens and these cats all over Los Angeles.
Yeah.
So I was like, that'd be cool to put on a shirt. I reached out to them. Nothing's happened yet, but that'd be nice to have like a little collab with them.
Well, there's so many artists here now.
Yeah.
Like not just those folks, but like, have you reached out to other artists and stuff like that, or like, what things have you thought of putting on it? Like some people, like they don't like anime, so they don't want to put like any cartoon stuff. They want to keep it more like photo pictures, more like real life.
Right.
Like you want like. Actually, what might be a good one is like just putting pictures of people just laughing, chuckling.
Well, I want to really stay close to like the street artists, and I definitely don't want it to be like a human face. Anime, it has its own niche.
Yeah.
Like I like anime, but I wouldn't want to put something like that on my shirt. But something that's a little, like just keep it like street art.
Street art?
Yeah.
Okay. So besides those two, like those examples, what other like artists do you like think of when you think of like street art? Like when I think of street art, you think of like Banksy or something like that. Or you think of like another form of street art is also like tagging. Especially here in LA, tagging is very huge.
For sure, tagging. Grew up with it in the culture, in the hip hop culture, and I have a couple of friends, that are taggers, are vandals, if you would call them that, right? So I just reached out to a friend of mine I went to high school with, and he does tagging art. So
cool.
He was like, oh, he'll work with me on something. So hopefully that'll come sometime at the end of the year.
Like I don't do any clothing brand, I don't do any promotion, but what are like some logistics that people don't realize that go into like starting a clothing brand and like also like just like trademarking? Like did you trademark your?
Yes. So I had to go through LegalZoom. Right, because I didn't know what I was doing to check the name, and I found the name, and it was available. So and it's a process, and then you got to spend some money on it.
Yeah, how much did that cost?
So, the legal fees, I think, it was just under $1,000 to get everything wrapped up. Okay. So I was lucky for that, and other stuff that get expensive, like the paint to put on your shirts.
The colors?
That could get expensive. Yeah, it's just, a simple white, and then, because it comes with, you have to get you an artist to make you a logo. Then once you get the logo, send it to an actual t-shirt house that does silk screening or, iron press, whichever way you want to go. Yeah. So depending on where you want to go, that it could get very expensive. So where I went, I just did the silk screen. And you got to be careful, too, because some silk screeners, they don't use quality paint. But you might not know that until after you done printed, so many, so many shirts. And, of course, you always want to do a sample first. Yes. But then you never know how they hold up over time after washes and things like that.
2-3 washes.
Yeah.
Because especially some brands, some shirts, some colors, like you wash it and it starts bleeding, it starts fading really quick. Like one thing that I learned is when I wash all my shirts, like this shirt, if I have a logo on it,
right,
I always wash it inside out.
Right.
Because you got it, because it helps preserve it longer. It's one of the little tricks of the trade of living with maids.
Right. Living with maids. What is that?
I'm Mexican.
Oh my gosh.
So it's just one of the tricks of the trade, the living maids. Like, you learn how to clean well. You know what I mean? Like, you know how to make sure how to wash it, how to get the gunk out, how to make sure, like, if you want to keep the shit nice for as long as possible. Like, I learned how to do all the laundry. I had a girlfriend that says, I have Catholic guilt over laundry. Like, if I wear a shirt for, like, over an hour, it's dirty.
It's dirty.
It's dirty. I can't wear that
No
shirt
stains, anything. It's dirty.
It's dirty. 1 hour.
That's funny. But,
funny. Like, what are the things, like, what are the challenges? Because, like, I know a few people who do it, and then the thing is, like, obviously the samples, how it's hold over time. Like, what other, like, problems have you run into with that?
Problems, one of the biggest problems is how much of it do you produce?
Ooh, that's a good point.
Right? So, I've seen where they're like, oh, do pre-sales. Like, do pre-sales first, and then we'll see.
Yeah.
So I didn't do pre-sales. I said, okay, well, let me do maybe 5 of each color. No, I think I went 6 of each color.
In sizes.
And then in size, so then 2 of each size. So it was like small, medium, large,
that's
extra
all a huge
large,
order
2X,
still.
right? And it's still a huge order.
Yeah.
Right. So my first batch, I was able to, sell it pretty good because it was pandemic. Everyone was buying.
Yeah.
Definitely
got
buying.
that STEMI.
Yeah, right, exactly right. Everybody, like, hit that bank account. I'll take 3.
Yes.
And they're chuckling, waiting for it to come in. So that's a big thing, figuring out, how much to buy, right?
Yeah.
Because you don't want all this inventory and then, nowhere to move it, right? You want to move it. So any other things that I was going, and then colors too. So what I didn't realize is certain people won't buy certain colors in certain seasons.
Oh my.
Yes. So
yeah, some people are very particular about their color, and especially the time of year, because they want to buy it and they want to wear it.
Yes.
And they'll put it in the closet for 4 or 5 years.
Right. And just leave it. And I'm like, are you kidding me? So I bought basic colors, some earth tones.
Okay.
But my signature color is red. So I don't have the red Chuckle shirt on. But that's my signature color that I came out with that everybody was like, oh, drawn to. But then they were like, well, why don't you have like a summer color?
Oh.
I'm like, red's a summer color. They're like, no, we want some. So I ended up grabbing I have a coral color.
Coral?
Yeah.
You gotta get like some teal in
there.
Yeah,
I have teal. I have teal, yeah. And I have mint.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
So.
You gotta get some pastels in there for the spring?
I do have some pastels.
Sorry to cut you off.
It's kind of thirsty over here. Yeah. But yeah, so other than that, that's pretty much it. And of course, when somebody decides they want colors or sizes that you don't have, and you can't just go buy 3 or 4.
No, right? You gotta buy like 10.
Yeah, well, actually more than that. Like the person I go through, you have to get 25.
Okay,
that's the minimum order.
That's a
so
good
you're like, he's like, if I don't have medium white, then I have to get an order of 25. So then that means, okay, well, I have to get some colors that I still have in stock.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to just burn out on all white. And then all of a sudden I get this surge of sales with the navy blues. Yeah. And it's like, man, I should have got navy blues. So just being able to manage your inventory also.
Do you do like farmers markets, or do you as a vendor, or do you have to like rent out space where you try and like promote your brand? Like,
not farmers markets, but events. So there may be a food truck event happening, in South LA. So those are things that I do. I haven't done a farmers market because I want to stay away from places that sell food.
Why is that?
Right, because when it's a food festival, they're only there for the food. So like if it's a music and arts festival, boom, I'll go to the music and arts festival because they're there with the mindset, I'm going to buy things and not food.
Okay. Yeah. That makes sense. Because I wouldn't think of that. I would never have thought of that because especially because I'm not really thinking of when I go to this places, I'm in that mindset. But now that you explain it, I am in that mindset. Right. Because like when you go to Fairfax on the weekends, they have the Fairfax trade.
That's a flea market.
Flea market. Yeah. There you go. It's a flea market. So that one, it's stuff like that. Like I bought a lot of stuff from there, shirts and stuff. And I always find like underground brands that way the best.
Right.
But so where do they usually find the Chuckle Brand? Where can they find the Chuckle Brand?
So you can go to chucklebrand.com, and I have a whole website ready for you. Also, if you go to Instagram, there it's Chuckle Brands with an S on the end. And some clown already had Chuckle Brand and just left it. He abandoned it. So now I'm hitting up Instagram like, hey, can I get this? They're like, no, you can't get it. Sorry. I'm like, but it's abandoned, obviously. He has like 1 follower, and then he follows 2 people. Oh, and with no posts.
No posts. How long was it created? It was created like 10 years ago.
No, it was created like 4 years ago when I had, sought after the name on Instagram and reached out to him a couple times and just like, no, we're not gonna do that.
Instagram's so horrible to work with. I mean, I know a lot of people have been getting hacked on Instagram.
Yes.
A lot of people have been getting hacked on Instagram. I was one of them.
Oh.
I was one of them. So it's not my. It was one of my business accounts.
Of course it is. Was it a Forex account or?
No. It was my business account.
No, that the person took and they pretended it. And now they're sending links for Forex signups to all of your friends.
Yeah, for like sign up for my Bitcoin trading.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
You want to drive a Mercedes? I was like, worst part about it is that it happened. I went out with one of my ex-girlfriends back in town, and she said, "Oh, what happened to your Mercedes?"
Oh.
I'm like, "Damn, man." She got me good. She's like, "Oh, what happened to your Mercedes?" I was like, "Oh yeah, about that." She's like, "It's still posting," and I was like, "That's not my fault." Right. Well, it is my fault. Yeah. It was one of those things like,
come on, tell it all. If you're gonna tell it, you got to tell it all.
I ain't gonna lie, like it got me. It got me real good, and like. The thing is, it's been getting everybody. It's been getting everybody. A lot of people, I say, at least twice a week, you find another person who's gotten caught.
Yeah.
And I don't know, for what reason?
They're good. I mean, I've got the emails that are like, hey, if you subscribe to this, then, you can get $1,000 in 30 days. And I'm like, for doing nothing, 2 posts. There was somebody that hit me up, and they were like, hey, what's up, bro? I'm like, okay, what's up? I'm like, okay, does he know me? He's like, hey, man, I was wondering if you could just post this to your page. He was like, and that's it, just post it, and it'll really help me out, because they were supposed to be doing this contest where they needed to be voted in to be the next best something.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't care that much so that you could be the next best something. Yeah. But then I Googled it. I'm like, what is this? And then it was like, oh, it's a scam. It's like, do not repost it, because then somehow they're able to get your account or whatever numbers, that comes with that. And then they can just go on ahead and just take your page. Oh. You don't even have to click on the link. If you post it onto your page, they can get to it somehow. So I was like, I'm not going to do that.
Oh, shit.
So, yeah. So now I Google everything. When anything comes up, especially when girls slide into my DMs, they be like, hey, Big Daddy.
You're like,
no. Super scam.
I always look up phone numbers. When I always look, if I know the name, I'll put the number into Facebook. Because if you could, if a lot of people don't realize that they have their cell phone number linked to their Facebook.
Right.
And if you could look people up through their numbers on Facebook. I've looked to find a lot of people like that. Right. It's really interesting. A lot of people don't realize how much of their own data they willingly put out there. I mean, for some of us, it's a necessity. You got to put some things out there. But, people don't realize a lot of security goes like, we're your favorite teacher. Oh, here's me and my favorite teacher. Throwback Thursdays, like first dog's name. Yeah. Shit like that. It was like, where's your mother's maiden name? And it's like, oh, here are my grandparents, blah, 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 blah. Like, you're doing a real simple Google search, looking up on people's Instagrams and Facebooks. Like, you find a lot.
And they just collect all that data.
Where's your hometown?
Wow. Ooh, that's scary.
It is scary. Like, one of my biggest fears, I have a conspiracy theory, not really just about, all the information we got online, but all the information they can collect from us offline.
Right.
Because listening about this, like, my biggest fear is the 23andMe and the DNA test. Because they found, I feel like in 100 years, they're going to find the DNA technology, or 1,000 years, and they're going to take all that information that they got, and they're going to clone us. And you know what? There's gonna be a new war. There's gonna be a war between the clones and the non-clones.
Wow.
And then who's fighting? They're gonna and then they might even segregate us, like the clones. Like who's gonna fight for my clone rights?
Wow. There was this cartoon that I watched in the 80s. No joke. It was called the Exo Squad. Exo Squad.
Never
right?
heard of it.
Never look it up, but it's crazy. So you have the Homo sapiens, and then you have the Neo sapiens that they created in the lab to help support the Homo sapiens. But then the Neo sapiens realized that, well, some of them, that, you know, they were the superior race, and then they should exterminate the Homo sapiens. So it was this whole big battle. And then it was like, you didn't know who you want to root for the Homo sapiens, but then it's like, but dang, the Neo sapiens got a point because the Homo sapiens destroyed the planet, you know?
Well, it's also like, I think like iRobot.
Yeah.
Like iRobot.
Yeah,
like
the AI becoming super aware. Yeah.
So I feel like you can try and create it, but then like, with iRobot, it kind of like the three laws of like robotics is like, can't harm humans, you can't like, I forget what it is. But with that is like the logical conclusion to that is that to really protect humans you must kill humans, which is stupid, but you know, movie magic,
right?
Movie magic. But it's one of those things like I'm worried about, like who's gonna fight for my clone rights?
My clone rights,
right? We were talking about all these civil rights, all these things before and after, but like my clone rights. Like right now, a whole bunch of people, especially the old white ladies, are all fighting for animal rights. So like, animals have a right that you shouldn't own pets and this and that. PETA's like all about that. It's all those rich white women.
We don't know. I guess we have to wait and see.
We have to wait. Like, what was it? I think there was a chimpanzee or orangutan a few years ago. They were trying to free it. Saying that it was it could feel and it had thoughts and it had its own, like, you know, it can make up its own choices, and so because of that it should be not in a cage, but it lost because it wasn't. They said the court says it's not, you know, it's not humans. So pretty much they say that it can't be
free.
It can't be like it's kind of like holding a pet. Like you own the pet. But, like, you know, it's part of your family and stuff like that. Like, do you have the right to own something else? Stuff like that.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, but then where did they get the orangutan? You got to think about if it was brought up.
In the cage.
Yeah, in the
captivity.
cage. Yeah, right. And then if you release it into the world, then there's the nature versus nurture, you know, conversation. Like, how would he be able, or she be able to survive in that? Like, they, right, she, they, them, yes. So yeah, I mean, there's still a lot of research has to be done on that. So,
I mean, you hear the stories like if you have a turtle, you can't release it into the wild because it won't know how to live. Same thing with a dog. Like you can't release a dog into the wild. Like a lot of animals, you can't release them into the wild. Right. A lot of animals that are like tigers and lions, they don't know how to hunt, so they're gonna starve out there. Yep. Another thing I'm really worried about is DNA, especially DNA. Like there's so much DNA. Like I forget. I think it was. There was a black man in the 80s or 70s. He went to jail, and after he was wrongly accused off of DNA evidence. So after he got out, he was smoking cigarettes with his lawyer, and after he got the cigarette, he would get a Ziploc bag and put it in he put a cigarette in the bag, and his lawyer's like, "Why do you do that?" He's like, "Because I'm making sure no one gets my DNA without my permission again." Like shit like that. It was like crazy. Another thing is like earlier this year, late last year. There was this young black girl. She got caught for a crime with DNA evidence because she went to the police and she submitted a rape kit. Like 3-4 years ago, and so her DNA is in the system. So because of that, she was prosecuted for a crime that she had now committed, even though she was a victim in the past. So should we allow? Is that her submitting that evidence? Should we stay in there?
Right.
But the thing is, you also got to wonder is like, what if she was she was a victim of a crime? Maybe she was abducted, something like that, later in the future, and they had that evidence. Would it be helpful to find her? Yeah. Stuff like, or identify her.
Yeah. I mean, it is one of those things. Like when you have that power, it's like, how do you deal with it? Like, what's morally right? Right? How do we deal with it? But you never know, right? I mean, you bring up an interesting point. It was like, well, what if that information was to help her later on, right? Like later on, it was like, thank goodness we had it. Versus, oh man, we don't know how to figure this out.
I mean, like using your own DNA to catch. I mean, she did commit a crime. I forget what the crime was, but like she reported a crime.
Yeah.
Because she reported a crime, so kind of like maybe women in the future might be reluctant to do stuff like that.
But then we have fingerprints. It's like, so do we stop the fingerprints because
how many places? The only place you really need your fingerprint is the DMV, really. Mm-hmm. And for when you get your
DMV loans. Before, if you didn't have 2 forms of identification at the bank, you'd have to put a thumbprint, especially if it's not from your bank. Like if you bank at Chase, but somebody cut you a Wells Fargo check and you don't have an account at Wells Fargo, they ask for a fingerprint.
Really? Yeah. I didn't know that. Mm-hmm. I have Bank of
America. Right. So if you can, be like, please only give me checks for my bank. Don't give me other checks.
Only Chase.
Yeah, exactly. Chase only, or I don't accept it.
They also caught the Golden State Killer that way. So he actually, through 23andMe, they did a reverse engineering of the DNA, one of the DNA that they found on one of the crime scenes. And they didn't find him on it, but they found one of his nephews on it. Oh. And then through his nephews, they interviewed all his family members, and then they found him. Wow. And that's how they caught the Golden State Killer.
Forensic science.
Once again, DNA. Yeah. It's a private company. Yeah. The police have the right to go into that private company, ask for that data to use it to help solve crimes.
Well, then maybe they can ask for it, but then if it's a private company, they should have that, like, well, yes and no, we shouldn't do that.
Well, it depends on the once again, it goes back to the contract you sign.
Yeah.
Because you sign a contract with these people. Right. Like, they have the right to your information. Mm-hmm. Like, there's nothing more there's no more information a person can have on you than your DNA code. Mm-hmm. Your code. Like, literally, that's everything you are. And the thing that's stupid about them, they're always constantly having to update. Because the data is only as reliable as how much data they have. Mm-hmm. So it can only be the only way they could really, really make it like the best is if they just get every newborn baby and just put the newborn baby information in that. That's like the most accurate information you could probably get.
Yeah. Well, how about this now? When people are now more aware of what's going on, now you can say, okay, I'm at my own free will giving this information, but you cannot. You cannot use it, and whatever you have to do, get a lawyer, set it up. Okay, this is information only for this only, and if it gets out for any reason, then we can sue.
Once again, what happens like 40, 50 years down the road, maybe you're dead, and it's not like your kids are really going to be paying attention to that stuff, or your grandkids are going to
but it's the contracts. Yeah. Even still, like, it has to be clad.
The only reason people would be able to, like, the only way you could enforce it is if you... if someone's there to, like, complain about it. Mm-hmm. So if no one's there to complain about it, like, because what if it's only, like, the people who are, like, X amount of age, Right. And then the people who are under that age, like, you don't tell, you don't disclose it. And then you can't, like, oh, this is old information, like, you shouldn't worry about it, we won't do this to your information.
Well, I guess at that point it don't matter. Like, if you're dead, like, if there's an expiration date on that information and when they have to hold it, then, that's that. So, yeah, it's like, all right, keep it till I'm dead, or at least 2 generations after I'm dead, then we're done. And
still, But once again, like, they found the Golden State Killer not because they found someone else's DNA. Mm-hmm. So what if that, like, something like that, like, if something happens and they use the DNA to incriminate you, not your DNA, but one of your family members or someone that you're related to, their DNA, and they'd use it to backtrack to get you. Mm-hmm. That's a kind of a slippery slope.
Don't commit crimes then.
Don't commit crimes.
At the end of the day, you got you keep your nose clean.
I just think it's funny though. Like, it's crazy. Like, how I feel like every day it becomes harder to commit a crime, and I feel like, how did criminals get caught back in the day? Like, there are so many ways to get caught now. Like, if you like all these Amazon thieves, like, there are a lot of them getting caught because of the ring.
Right? Exactly.
Ring.
Yeah.
Like, how the fuck do people get caught nowadays? Like, how do people get away with it so easily? And I feel like it's getting even harder to get away with shit.
What I get, that's a good thing.
Yes, no.
Right? Okay, but I'm like,
it depends who you look at.
I guess. If your thing, there was a case back in the day where this guy was trying to break into a house. Yeah. Right? You probably heard through it, and they had like a skyline, and he was trying to get in through the roof, but he slipped, fell through into a glass coffee table or something like that, and broke his leg. Yeah. So then he sued the homeowner, saying that he got hurt on the job because his occupation is a robber and a thief. And he wins the case. And they're like, and you're like, what are you talking about? They broke into our home. That's a home invasion. Yeah. They're like,
That's the bullshit about it. You gonna call?
Oh. Oh man, I'm getting a call.
I saw the shit go black, and I was like, what the fuck? So y'all don't know he's on the side. He's also doing a live stream.
Right, doing a live stream.
What's your plug it on Instagram?
Rosstown Academy. That's my plug.
Is she going in and out?
Yeah, what the heck is going on?
I don't even know.
There we go.
Oh, hopefully.
Yeah, and here's
Lucy.
Everyone
knows.
She's
Lucy.
not in the sky. She does not have diamonds.
Not yet.
So, not yet.
Not yet. I mean, I'm too poor for that. I mean, you know what I hate the most?
What's
he was
that?
like, "Oh, you're a dog dad." No, I'm not a fucking dog dad. Fuck you.
I have a dog.
The thing is, I hate right now is all these women is like, oh, people are saying, especially on TikTok and Instagram, I hate this trend. It's like people are saying I didn't give birth to my child, and it's an ultrasound with their fucking pet. Like
I've never seen that.
It's stupid. It's disgusting, and I hate one thing is like I know she was just about to, but I don't let dogs look at my face.
Yeah, it's
one of those things. Like I see where you put your nose. You a booty muncher. I call her booty muncher. Don't look at the face.
It's so funny. She was so relaxed before, and now she's like, yeah, it's time to party.
It's time to no. She comes in waves. She'll go sleep and like. It's funny. Charlie always says like, she complains like all she does when you're gone. Is just have her eyes closed. She's just asleep. She's just asleep a little. Like a lot of the comics who come on, they all say like, I love how her eyes always look like she's high. And she's always just squinting. But she's a chill dog. She doesn't bark, which is great. She just squeaks, which is sad. Which is sadder.
She's all good.
She's all good. Yeah. So, how did you get started in comedy? So, you guys started before COVID, right?
I got started before COVID. So, interesting story. I'm going to take it back.
To the 90s.
Yeah, for real, to the 90s. So, in high school, went to Hollywood High School,
Nice.
Did performing arts my entire life. And I love to perform. And there was one of my high school teachers, he's my history teacher, which interestingly enough, Mr. Mino, he is the brother to Soleil Moonfry, who played Punky Brewster back in the day, right? So he was our high school history teacher for like 2 or 3 semesters, I can't remember. But he had just came and he was like, you know what, you should do comedy. And I'm like, me? No, he's like, no, you really should do it. He was like, and he encouraged me. He's like, look, put a tape together. I could probably get it to somebody, and let's see where this goes. And me, I'm like, no, I'm not good enough to do any of that. Yeah. So I just didn't think about it at that point. But as it went on, I was like, you know what? I think I should probably do it because I was terrified. I was so afraid to do comedy. They were like, but Bryan, but you sing, you dance, and you act in front of all these people. I'm like, but I can't do comedy. So then, as the years went on, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna give it a shot. So I'm gonna do myself a favor on my birthday. I want to do a comedy show on my birthday.
What age were you?
I was 34 at the time.
Okay.
34 at the time.
So
for my 35th birthday, I was determined to have a show on my birthday. How do we start? I have no idea how we start comedy. So I'm like, okay, let's see, let's go on. So I'm looking in the paper and I see like, stand-up comedy classes and things like that. And they're like, $500, some ridiculous amount on workshops, $1,200, right? And I'm like, this is dumb. So I go to West Side Extension, right, which is West LA's non-credit courses. And it had, are you the office funny man? Come do a stand-up comedy class. Like, $20 a unit. It's one unit. I can pay $20 for 8 weeks or however it was. It might have been $40. Okay. I can't remember. So there was like an 8-week stand-up comedy and writing course that I went every Saturday for like 4 hours with 8 other people.
Okay.
And that's how I got into it. And I was like, I like this. And my teacher was like, hey, you're good at this. Like, you should start doing it. In stage presence, that's always the thing. Oh, you have good stage presence. Thanks. I don't know if that's, and then so because I'm not funny, or if that's a compliment because
that's a good. You have to be funny and have stage presence. You can't have stage presence and not be funny.
Right. So I don't know. Like, I'm gonna just stand there and they just like, look at the way he stands. So erect. I don't know. So anyway, I did that, and then we had our graduation show, and family came out.
Nice.
And it was cool. I didn't feel great about it, and my teacher, he was like, "Hey, I know this guy. I think you'll work well with him. He does shows at the Comedy Store.
Yes.
I'll set you up. Perfect." And I called him, and we talked for a little bit. He was like, yeah. He was like, I have a show coming up May 18th, which is my birthday. And I was like, what? I was like, that's my birthday. And he was like, yeah, come out. You know, I'll have you come do the show. Main stage. So in the main room at the Comedy Store on my birthday, hit up my friends and family. You got to come out.
Did you record it?
I didn't. Well, they don't allow recording at at the Comedy Store. Unless you're, Dave Chappelle or, Bill Burr. So I was so amped up, excited, wrote some stuff, went up. I could hear him, first time I heard him, and give it up for Bryan Ross. And I come on stage and looking out at that crowd, so many people, I'm amped. I'm like, this is my moment. Bomb.
Oh,
completely bomb. Like,
in front of everybody.
Oh my God, like atomic bomb. Oh my gosh, it was so bad. Like, it was so bad when I went back to my friends and family, they had that, well, that thing, well, you did it. You did it. You said you wanted to, and you did it. And there's that moment where, do I ask how well I did, or do I just leave it alone? And I had one friend, he said, I'll tell you this. Stand-up is the hardest thing to do in business.
Yeah.
And I'm like, thanks. Like, there was just, like, no advice or anything. It was just like, this is hard.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Go do.
I mean, because, like, I had another comic, Erin McBrown, earlier. She said, like, for her, like, because she was in performing arts as well. So for her, getting on the stage and singing and dancing was easy. That's fine. But for her, doing comedy was terrifying. But some people, like, doing comedy is easy. We're going up there and singing and dancing. It is terrifying.
Yeah. That's how it was for me.
Yeah.
But I needed to bomb because I needed to get it out of the way.
You do.
And I bombed on a grand scale.
Yeah,
so
there's only way to go.
Yeah, exactly right. I can only go exactly.
You're literally at the peak of failure.
Right.
It's like, this is great.
It doesn't get any more bottom than that, right? On your birthday, friends and family, main stage at the world famous Comedy Store.
Yeah.
And oh my God, but that feeling that I got, that euphoric feeling of getting up there in front of those people and doing my thing, not knowing what I was doing. It was the not knowing that was exciting.
Yeah.
So I was like, I want more of that.
Yeah.
So then I kept going up and so here we are, then pandemic, boom.
Yeah.
And then I did some of those online shows.
I'm not really a big fan of them.
They were rough.
Yeah, especially because like most people have the shit mute. And they're like sitting there like like slouching, eating like a hamburger or something. Or there's like some from Postmates.
Right. And then I'm all like, I do a joke and I'm like,
trying to like look through the screen.
Right, look to see, did it land? And you don't hear anything. And it's like, oh my God, like give me something. But so now that it amped back up, I said, okay, I gotta hit this hard now.
Yeah.
So this whole summer, I've been hitting like 2, 3, sometimes 4 shows a night.
Nice.
Just trying to get out there and make it happen.
10,000 hours.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how you got to do it. Because it really what it is, but especially about comedy, it's one of those things that you just got to keep slaying. You got to keep slaying. You got to keep going. You got to keep, because like, sometimes the joke groups works with these group of people, but not these group of people.
Yeah.
Okay, why is it to work with these, but not those? And the thing that's so great about LA is there's so many different types of rooms. Like you go to like West Hollywood, then you go to Hollywood, then you go to like
North Hollywood.
Then you also got like you go down to like LA or like Compton down there. Go down to East LA. Like East LA and LA are completely different rooms, completely different vibes, completely different people.
For sure.
So like the thing I love about it is like you get so many variety.
You get a wide spectrum.
Yeah. Even if you want to, you can get the fuck out of LA and go all the way to Orange County and be like, damn, is this shit gonna work in the dirty South?
Oh my God, I did a show in Orange County.
Where in Orange County?
And it was Newport. It was
really
yeah. It was like Karen Central, like way up there, Trump supporters.
Yeah.
And I went up there and I looked at the stage, and the stage was raised, so it to me it looked like an auction block. So I went up there, and my opening joke, I was like, wow, I feel like I'm on auction right now. I was like, who wants to check my teeth? And I killed with that joke. They're like, oh my God, I got $1 for that one. And I'm like, wait a minute, this got weird really fast. But
racist jokes work pretty well out there.
Yeah, really well.
They're like, oh,
Yeah, because I swear if I heard a yee-haw, I was up out of there. Like, ooh, that's a little too long of a haw. But I want to go back to the 10,000 hours because I was just watching, I don't know which comic had mentioned that. They was like, the 10,000 hours is different for comics because our 10,000 hours start on our way up the mountain versus when somebody goes up to the mountain and starts their 10,000 hours. And I was like, that's interesting. So the whole concept is like you're supposed to go to a secluded spot, and then work on your craft, right, at the top of the mountain. And then when you're done, you come down, almost like a Moses type. I'm done. I've completed, the commandments. Okay. But with comedians, it's like, no, your 10,000 starts on your way climbing and clawing.
Yeah, because like rappers, producers, even like if you're an actor and actress, like you're in like a room, you're in like small people. You make 4 people. You know what I mean? Sometimes maximum 10 people. Yeah. But in comedy, you got to go out there to the people. Yes. That's a great. It's great. Yeah. You got to take the boulder as a new phrase I'm starting. You got to climb the boulder to Mount Everest. Right. Peak of Mountain. You take the boulder to Mount Everest. Right. So that's why I created it to you. You got to take the boulder to Mount Everest, and like a lot of things like they're like you said, like you have to come down. You're Moses. That's a really great thing. Yeah.
I'm like, that's dope.
Do you know?
I can't. I'll find it and try to get it you bit, but I put in so many hours just watching comedians talk. So I don't know who said that, but
I get that.
Yeah. But that was a great, that's true. And then I think even Seinfeld was saying, like, comedians crawl on their belly, to get to, upright stand-up. Like, when you start, you're crawling because it's like you're just trying to get every little bit to the next level, and then you're able to. I'm like, that's an interesting analogy, too, because you just feel like, oh, my, you're just inching and inching and inching. Yeah. It's like a baby, just trying to learn how to crawl.
I mean, there's, like, with bombing, there's 2 ways to do it. Either A, you try and just stick with your set, or B, you just say, fuck it, and you just, like, go straight into it. It's like, I know I'm bombing, so let's just bomb even harder. Because some people they're really good bombers. Yeah, like they bomb and they revel in it. Yeah, and then some people they bomb and they keep trying to do their set, and it's just. And you see them. I've done it. This has been me plenty of times. Where you try. When I bomb, I'm just like, just stick to the set. Just stick. Because I'm not like. Just do what you've done and just see what you can do. Maybe switch it here and there, switch it here and there, but like. I try and stick with it. Yeah,
you gotta stay in it, and it's okay to come out of it, and then hey, I'm aware that I'm bombing, right? Yeah. I'm not gaslighting myself, saying that this is an amazing. I know it's rough up here for me, so it's gotta be rough out there for you.
It's just like oof, oof. You gotta admit, and the thing is like you can't not bomb, right? You can't not bomb, right? No matter how. If you get all the way to the mountaintop, you still there's a whole bunch of film of a whole bunch of comics just bombing. Yeah, and it's fine. Yeah, because you have to fail. Yeah, I feel a lot of people are afraid of failing. Like I'm never afraid to get egg on my face because if you're afraid to like make a phone call, like if you never made that phone call to that dude, like you could have been like, oh, I'm not sure. Because like it's not that hard to do shit. It's not that hard to be a producer, hard to be a rapper, hard to be comic. The only thing that makes it hard is doing it. Yeah.
It's the art of the start, right? Doing it and then staying with it. I think I was speaking to a gentleman who was a producer for rap music, and he was like, I've seen so many acts go through. He said, but the one thing that separates the great from the not great is the great they keep doing it. They don't stop no matter what. It's like they keep it going, and then pretty soon they're going. Who's Waits? I can't think of his name. Alan Watts. There's this great motivational speech about doing what you love and not continuing to do what makes you money, because in the just making the money, then now you're going on doing things that you hate. Yeah. Just to get something that you like, to continue doing things that you hate. It was like, forget the money, do what you want, do your passion. I'll send it to you, but it's great. When I first heard about it, it was on that Logic album, the Incredible True Story, which I think that album is a really good album for creatives, because he went left, did a totally different album from what he usually does, and then he came back to doing just like regular hip hop, and I respect that album so much. But yeah, Alan Watts and his I'll send it to you. You can post it up, but it's so inspirational. Like, yes, this
like J. Cole. Like J. Cole, like he's always talking about, like, beforehand, like people were saying he's corny, he's lame, like his Dream album, especially in the early days. Now J. Cole is like one of the greatest rappers of all time. Everyone loves J. Cole. Everyone wants to be on Dreamville. Yep. Like, so, like, for me, like first time I heard J. Cole was was that one song that got really popular, Workout.
Yeah.
That's the first time I heard him. I was like, not really a big J. Cole fan. Because it was like, that was a song that even he said, like, "I'll let Nas down." He came back and it came out. He's like, that song let Nas down. I was like, yeah, because like after I heard that, I was like, I'm not really a J. Cole fan. And then after a while, I started hearing especially the Forbidden Fruit and all that. After he put out the Workout, like that's when I started. I always say a lot of artists when they come out, they're clean shaven, but then when they really make it, they get the long hair. They get the long hair. You mean like the J. Cole? Like a lot of the rappers. Look at Kendrick.
Kendrick did that.
They got the long hair. So I'm always saying, like, the Beatles, it was long, but then when they really got made it, they got the real long hair. So I would say it's like when when people really make it in the industry, when they just let the hair go.
Yeah, like Jay-Z has this thing where when he's now, but even before, because he would go into his creative mode, and there was times where he wouldn't shave, he wouldn't brush his hair, comb his hair. He would miss taking a shower, maybe, a day in between or things like that, because he was just in that mode. Like, he just didn't let anything affect him. And I'm like, yeah, he was in it. And yeah, I think at that point, it's like, you're just like, it's all about the creativity. Forget all the other stuff. Let me just work. Let me be my true self.
Yeah.
And not worry about, how I'm looking to other people.
I mean,
because that's when I
mean, Kanye's been there since the beginning.
Yeah.
Like, everyone's like, Kanye's crazy now. I was like, bitch, have you not heard?
Yeah,
like,
right. Heard him.
Yeah, he was like, I'm the greatest. Like, he's been saying this. Like, I love that Ye Netflix special. But like, as someone who's like been in love with Ye since like when he first came out, like I've seen the VH1 specials and all that, like way before this, like behind the musics and all that. And like everything that was on that is just it's already been out there.
Yeah,
it's stuff that we already know. The only difference is there's a second camera. That's it. Is there a second camera? Like, dude, this is nothing that I ain't heard or seen before. Yeah. But now there's just like, this is how like
they were mesmerized by the music. Like, they didn't want to see that other part. It's like, just like, I think with Jay-Z when he was meeting Kanye, and Kanye was like, oh, I can rap too, and Jay-Z was like, I just want the hot beats. Like, that's all I'm worried about. He, but then once Kanye started rapping, he started, oh, okay, like, I can start paying more attention to this.
I remember, like, before before Kanye, no one wore polos, no one wore backpacks. Now all rappers wear polos.
Yeah, polos, backpacks.
I mean,
Jesus Piece.
Yeah. Actually, Jesus Pieces were big. I mean, they're
like
big,
the actual face of Jesus.
That was so. Everyone had the big cross and everything.
Yeah, they had that.
But he's the one who came out with the Jesus Piece. I mean, Rick Ross came out with Jesus Piece, but it was nothing like Kanye's.
Yeah.
I mean, but to be fair, like, remember that like 6 years ago, that painting of like Jesus that restored and it looked horrible.
Yes.
How like the face
was
deformed.
Yeah.
That's how the Jesus Piece kind of looked. It kind of looked deformed. It was like this. His face was like a little off center. So it was like, it looked like this. I thought it was cool. Like, honestly, I think I was in like middle school. I was like 6th, 7th grade, and I saw that shit, and I was like, I want a Jesus Piece now. It came out on was it the BETs?
Yeah. Oh.
It was either BET or MTV
I'm sure
Awards.
It was. I think he likes to show out for the BET Awards, because I know BET was like started to get real huge.
I mean, did you see what he did this year?
I didn't see it this year.
The BET. I didn't see the BET. I don't watch award shows, but I watch the clips sometimes. And you know how he has this whole thing. He's like, "Oh, I love Diddy. You're responsible for a lot of my life choices, a lot of my wife choices."
That's hilarious.
He said white choice. I was like, no, yay, yay! I'm here for all the Ye beef. I'm here for all the. I'm like, the songs, the lyrics that he's been burying fucking Pete Davidson. I'm waiting for Pete Davidson. I've heard Pete's been saying shit, but I haven't heard it.
Yeah, he's been saying stuff, but I don't think Pete wants it, only because it doesn't make Pete's career better if he goes after Kanye. Like, he's in a good spot. It's like, hey, I'm a comedian. you have the issue.
Yeah.
I don't have the issue.
Yeah.
So you do your thing because I'm where you want to be, bro. So it's like,
oh no,
I'm gonna be the bigger person.
Oh no. I mean, the text messages that have been leaked, all the things, the pictures. He's like, "Where you at?" He's like, "In bed with your wife."
You're right. Yeah.
I'm like, "No, no, don't do that." If it was me, I would have banged the fucking front door. I would have been strangling the motherfucker.
I mean, but it's like, do you really want that smoke? It's like you try to give it to Pete. You really trying to like defame his character, but for what? Like, but for what?
He's a comic. Like,
he's a comic, and he's gonna use his comedic platform because that was pretty funny.
I ain't gonna lie though, if Pete Davidson comes out with a Kanye diss,
oh my god,
if he comes out with a Kanye like mixtape, I ain't gonna lie, I'm gonna be here for it. I'm like, play. That's the only thing because right now, because I see all these rappers trying to be comics, I'm like, God damn it, if Pete tries to be a rapper.
Oh my god, your boy Tip.
T.I. Oh no, he's been doing some foul shit.
Yeah.
His like he was at the Comedy Store and he like kept people there, like past their time and shit.
Oh really?
Yeah, like he went up to I think Godfrey was it? Joffrey?
Godfrey.
Godfrey, the black comic.
Yeah. He's Nigerian. Yeah, Godfrry. Yeah.
I don't know what type.
I mean, he says it all in his comedy. He's like, my Nigerian father.
Yeah. He's like. He was. I think it was at the Comedy Store somewhere. He was the last comic. He was the headliner, and he closed. And then after he finished, he came up and he did another like hour or so.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
After he headlined, I'm like, as a like a rapper, I wouldn't go up after the headliner.
Right.
Like let's say like if T.I. shows like if Godfrey just came out with a rap album and then he's like, all right, it's my show, thank y'all for coming, take care, keep tip,
right,
and then Godfrey comes out right like, yo, here's my next
right, I just let me give you this next one. It's coming off my sophomore album. They're like, you haven't even put a freshman album out. Yeah, but coming right out. Yeah, that's like he doesn't either. T.I. doesn't know the rules or his hip hop vibrato, like his gravitas is like trying to leak over into the comedic world. It's like, but nah, like there are rules here. Like you're famous over there. Yeah. You got to learn the rules over here. Yeah. Like what's like, come on, like this is some new stuff.
You wouldn't have a new upcoming comedian would never ever do that. If they did that, they would have been kicked the fuck off. They would never be able to work in this town again. Yeah. Like that's just rule number one. You just can't do shit like that.
Yeah, and it's like hip hop has a lot of you bullying and put that male ego into it, but it's like comedy's not like that. Like you go in, you do your thing. Most comics are broken, and and it's like we have this unwritten respect. Yeah, we just know. It's like you just don't do that. Because, because if he went up there and like if somebody like a Dave Chappelle came up and like diss Tip like that, like are you gonna have problems with Dave Chappelle? Like I mean you not where he is right now with his craft, with his art. Like, just abide by the rules and get better.
Yeah, I feel that. I mean it's like, if Omarion's out there singing and then Usher comes out. Like, Omarion's got nothing to Usher.
Oh, right.
And, like, if he say Usher, it's like, Usher? Like, we came here for Omarion, but we staying for Usher. Like,
right.
The thing that I saw the other day, I don't know when it came out, but I saw it, like, 2 days ago. I didn't even realize, but Snoop has a comedy special now.
I saw it. Yeah.
Did you see it?
Yeah,
What do you think of it?
Yeah, it was fun.
I don't know. I'm still kind of...
No, watch it.
Watch it?
Yeah, watch because it's fun. It was like D-Ray was on there, Donnell Rawlins was on there.
Is it like a talk or is it like a stand-up special?
So it's a stand-up special. Okay. Like he's chilling on the couch, talking to people, and then you have the comics. They go up, do their thing, and it's an audience, and then they go to the couch, talk to him for a little bit, and then we have another comic come out. So it's just that added element.
Okay, so it's not him doing it's different. It's not him doing
it. It's like Snoop Dogg Presents.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's different because I was because the way it kind of looked out to me because he was up there with the mic, the picture kind of looked like he was the one doing the comedy special.
No.
And I was like, I'm not really sure I want to watch this. Like, I love Uncle Snoop. He's a cool guy.
Yeah.
Like, but his one of his sons went to the high school I went to, Dime Bar, after I graduated, and I'm going to some of the games. The one thing I always thought was funny is motherfuckers in the stand, 50 years old with some football gloves, like, yeah, put me in, coach, put me in. He's like 50 yards up in the stands. Yeah. He's like a random football is gonna come up, and he's gonna catch it like it's a foul ball. Like he out here like he played like he's in the foul line. Like I'm gonna get home run. I'm gonna go home run.
He just merged two together. Foul ball. That's baseball. That's hilarious. But no, yeah, you should definitely check. It's some funny elements and moments in that show. So yeah, because I know he's just I feel like he's trying to create a different type of comedy, almost like it's like a Johnny Carson when you sit on the couch and talk, or a talk show with more than that one comic.
Yeah, well, I mean, like Gabriel Iglesias, you know what it kind of reminds
Fluffy.
me? Fluffy. Gabriel Iglesias kind of reminds me of when he used to do Comedy Central. He had this comedy, like this little comedy show he used to have where he would. When I first watched it, I thought he was gonna be doing a whole bunch of comedy, but he would spotlight a whole bunch of different comics and stuff like that. So I feel like that's what it sounds like Snoop is doing.
Could be.
But the thing is, like, it's already a whole bunch of people who are established. So if there was more people who weren't established, I feel like it would be it'd be cooler. But the thing is, like, it's Snoop. I mean, it's Netflix. This is big money. I mean, like, it's Snoop. I mean, Netflix. I mean, even though they're like losing a lot of money and they're firing a whole bunch of people, they still got it.
I mean, they're the first to do it at this level, so they're always. I mean, what now? It's at $19 a month. I think they said now Netflix, if you're a new subscriber, you're going to get commercials. But if you were already subscribed, then you're not going to get the commercials.
Okay. Oh, yeah, because I heard about them bringing commercials. Because, like, if the second they bring commercials on...
right. He's like, well, I'm donezo.
Yeah, I'm cutting. Yeah, I'm cutting stream, bro. Cutting that Wi-Fi off.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck... Like, honestly, like, Netflix, Amazon, like, they keep saying, we're raising the prices. Yeah. You know what happens to me? Okay.
He said, I'm done.
Red. Yeah. Not even on Red. Like, I don't get... Like, how many people, like... They raise the prices every year, but you don't give a fuck. Yeah. It was like, oh, should I unsubscribe? I don't give a fuck. Yeah. You do not give a fuck. Yeah. Because everyone's like, oh, I got my morals, I got my stands. Like, I don't believe in companies. But bitch, you still ordering from Amazon. You still watching Netflix. Yeah. You got that Disney Plus. Like, all these people, they got these high grounds, but it doesn't matter. Yeah. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I'm sorry. If Netflix go to $30, I'm probably still gonna have Netflix. Just because I started with Netflix, I'm getting them in the mail. You know, I'm like, oh snap!
Way back in the day.
Yeah, so it's like I'm loyal, and I have the other ones, Disney Plus, ESPN, and then another one, Hulu. But that's only because it came with my cell phone bundle. Okay. So it's like if I had to, Verizon. Yeah, see.
I got Verizon. I use it. I watch the NFL Network all Sunday on my cell phone.
It's pretty dope.
It is pretty dope. I love Verizon. You know, they're like, oh, it's expensive. Bitch, you see all the shit I get?
Right.
Like I got all this. I got that. I'm like, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, it's so convenient. It's perfect. But I need to cut off. I need the Luminaries. What is that called? So Dave Chappelle has a midnight. Midnight. I forget the name of it. But anyway, it's him, Yasin Bey, Mos Def, Talib Kweli. They have a podcast. And it's a killer podcast, man.
Dave Chappelle has a podcast?
Yes.
Why is this the first time I'm hearing about this?
It's in season 2.
What is it on?
It's on I think it's the Luminary app. But
no wonder I hadn't heard about it.
But they just put season 2 on iTunes.
Oh.
So you can hear season 2 on iTunes, but if you want to hear season 1, then you gotta get the Luminary account. I'm saying.
Is it free?
No. It's like $30 a month. Like,
what the fuck?
But you know, it's like Dave Chappelle. You're just like, am I gonna pay to hear him, Talib, and Mos Def? Yes.
Mos Def.
So yeah. So exactly. Exactly.
I mean, I'm at the end of my shit. Like, I'm trying to like cut down on like my expenditures, especially with like this inflation and all this fucking recession coming.
Yeah.
So I'm not looking for like everyone is just looking like right now everyone's looking for things to like stop buying. Yeah. Like cut off.
Trim the fat. Yeah.
Trim all this.
Yeah. Right, for sure.
If you want to trim fat, I got enough fat for y'all to trim.
Boy, yeah. I would say that quarantine 30. That's what. Ooh, jeez, I got so much weight quarantine.
No, but I want to get back to your shirt. Like what like, so you just the Chuckles. So what are some plans for expansion with your company, with your branding? Like, how do you plan to brand your brand?
Right, brand and brand. So, and I'm open to ideas. So one of the things that I have been doing is I've been reaching out to ambassadors. That's the big thing, right? So I've reached out to people in Italy, people, all over the UK, and I'm like, hey,
Really, Europe?
Yeah. So if you go to my page, you'll see that I have highlighted certain, models that wore my shirt, and then what I do is like, hey, what makes you chuckle? They have to tell me what makes them chuckle, and then what they do, who they are, and then they have to give a little note of of inspiration. Like what inspires you, or what can you say to inspire someone else as a fellow artist?
Okay.
And then I post that on my page. So I have probably over like 20 or 30 people that are on my page that has done this, agreed to do it. So it's exciting. So that's usually my drive. So I'm like, hey, if you buy my shirt, please answer these questions. And then I'll post it just like that, because then I want people to get this feel of, we are truly a community, the Chuckle community. Right? See, exactly.
That's a chuckle.
Yeah. See? And people usually do. They go, like, oh, that's the goal.
That's a chuckle.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's what I've been doing. And then also I want to start selling them at my shows that will allow it, because sometimes they're like, nah, we don't do that here.
Because one place that usually like a Baka show, you could do that. Young Baka, you could do there. I mean, like the Chateau, probably not.
Probably not, for sure.
A lot of these comedy clubs, you got to do like a lot more like the bars and stuff like that. Like maybe an open mic here, an open mic there. I mean, as long as you're like I think a lot of places would allow you, but just as long as it's not like a club or something like that,
right?
They usually don't do it because they sell their own merch.
Yep.
It's just cool, but like some of them are just kind of lame.
Yeah. It is what it is.
A little uninspired. That's all I have to say. A little uninspired. Yeah. So, but yeah. So, this has been it for the Blaize and Sharp podcast. My name is Blaize, and then where can they find you, Bryan?
All right, Bryan Ross. You can find me at Instagram at Rosstown Academy. Also, follow Chuckle Brands.
S's.
Yeah, with the S on the end on Instagram. And then also chucklebrand.com. And you'll find all my merch. Hit me up.
Links are going to be in the description down below.
For sure. And thanks for having me. This was fun.
Take care, guys.